So this video is quite self-explanatory, I guess, and may as well make it into a tag. Shall I say them now? We'll do it at the end because it's, you know, easier. It's a bit of fun. I'm sure it's been done before. People do these sorts of things. Just something easy to get the grim year rolling, I suppose. And we all have different emotions, obviously. Unless you're a Tory, in which case it's just hate and misery. But the rest of us kind of feel different moods and different kind of factors, and we like to send them moments, don't we? We all reach for something when we're feeling a certain way. At least I do, anyway. So yeah, we'll just get cracking on. So we'll start on an up. To represent happiness or happy feelings. It's a really obvious one. I'm going to try not to put too many obvious ones, but this just is there. It was either this or happy, wasn't it? But yeah, my Masque Milano's Ray-Flection. I'm not going to go way into depth because I don't want the video to be long, and this is one we all know, spoken about a bazillion times. It's primarily a big bright yellow luminous mimosa. There's a little bit of probably osmanthus and other notes in there, and then this huge musk. It's like a really bright aldehydic musk, to be fair, and then there's another kind of musk under that. There's lots of musks, and the mimosa, and what it is you like this in front of it. It's so bright, it's so happy, it's so joyous. So yeah, sorry, it's like you know, a nuclear flash of brightness and sunshine, and I've always said it and I always feel it. Glow sticks is what it makes me think of, raving and partying at a, you know, a great event. And that's it. I'm not going to waffle on. That's for happy is Masque Milano's Ray-Flection. Sad, but kind of emo sad. Not like, you know, wailing or anything. I'm not going to get too deep in this one, but for sadness we're going to go for Lolita Lempicka's Lolita Lempicka. This is one of them things you would have wore back in, you know, the early 2000s with your striped purple and black socks, or, you know, skirt or whatever, and you'd have your hair kind of brushed over to one side and a permanent kind of sad look on your face. Everything's meh. You don't particularly like happy people, you know. You've won the lottery, you know, life is great, and this is as good as it's ever going to get in your entire lifetime, believe me. Yeah. So yeah, it's that kind of sadness, kind of angsty, you know, when we're a bit more youthful and a bit more kind of not ready for the true misery of the world that comes. Lolita Lempicka is this kind of purple, violet, licorice, iris kind of thing, a beautiful kind of muskiness, which I think is the added cherry on the cake to this one. Is there cherry in there? There's a fruity note, isn't there? I can't remember. But it is violet licorice. It's dark, it's purple, it's moody, it's atmospheric. It's very likeable and easy fragrance to wear. So yeah, but for sadness is Lolita Lempicka's Lolita Lempicka. For romantic, and this is kind of romance only. We're not talking about, well, it may come up later in the video, but this is kind of, you know, you're happy to see your partner. I mean, I don't know if that happens much. It's been a while, you're feeling all loved up. Maybe it's early on in the relationship where all these sparks fly, and, you know, you're happy, and you've cooked a nice meal and laid some roses down on the floor and up to the bath filled with rose petals and candles and all that kind of thing. And you're just wanting a bit of a snuggle and a bit of attention from your partner. Nothing too hardcore or X-rated, just, you know, pleasant romance. And what I've gone for that is, even though it does have a bit of a naughty side, is Date with a Dane from One Way Bridge. Yep, talked about it loads. It was either this or rolling in love, so we went for this. And this one is, it's mainly like this tuberose with a kind of cherry edge and musks. There's other things in there, you know, some jasmine and things like this. I'm actually wearing this today as it happens, and it is just, yeah, it's beautiful, kind of clean musks, a little bit of a kind of naughtiness in there. Now, is the suede? There may well be. I haven't looked at the notes in a while, but it's just what I get, isn't it? It's just kind of soft, beautiful tuberose, nothing, you know, banana-y or bubblegummy or too green, not overly indolic or anything like that, with that kind of cherry kiss. Beautiful. So for romantic is One Way Bridges, Date with the Day. Next is grumpy, or not quite getting up to anger. Like I said, we're going to keep these calm and positive. So grumpy, moody. You basically want to tell people to F off and stay away from you, and you just, you know, you want to saunter and smoulder with your own kind of all day kind of thing. What I've gone for that is Swedoft's Bohemian. Now this is a lovely fragrance, as we know. It's one of my favourites, a masterpiece, but it is very loud, and it isn't the easiest fragrance to love. For me, I love it, I think it suits me, but it probably does keep people away from me, which is, let's face it, sometimes what we want, isn't it? It's like there's kind of quite a prominent oudi note, kind of more animalic brown leather. There's a kind of boozy touch to it. There's lots of big spices. It's just magnificent. There's like a deep greenness. Doesn't over dominate, but maybe like a cypriol kind of smoky kind of darkness in there. And it is just, it's magnificent. The oud note, whether it's oud or not, is irrelevant. Gives it this kind of elegant woodiness with that kind of, like I say, raw leather saddle. And it's just, it's lovely, but it's one that someone's smelling of this, especially in a massive cloud, you're probably not going to want to get overly close to them, especially if they have a face like mine all day long. So that's Bohemian from Swedoft for grumpy. Then we have poorly, kind of sad and you know, and you just want to cuddle and you just want looking after. If you're a man, being poorly is literally like being on death's door. We have a lower pain threshold, a lower ability to cope with illnesses. They wipe us out completely. And when we say we're dying, we literally are dying. A headache, it could be a brain hemorrhage. You just don't know, do you? So you should take us seriously and give us this pampering and what have you. But what I've gone for with that is Dear from Amouage, Dear Woman. Now this one is one, oh, I love it. It's like an 80s kind of style, snuggly sweater cardigan kind of thing. It's very aldehydic, very musky in that kind of 80s way musk. Hairspray is the wrong word because it's nothing like that of hairspray, but you know, that kind of ozonic, kind of fresh musky feel with roses and other florals, and it's really lovely. And it does have that kind of scented, rose scented wool, you know, when you snuggled your auntie, or lucky to get a hug off your mother I suppose, or your grandma or someone, you get that kind of classic fragrance embedded into their cardigan or something like that, or even your dad, to be fair. I got hugs off my dad and such like. So yeah, for when you're feeling poorly and wanting a bit of kind of TLC and a nice cuddle and stuff, Dear Woman from Amouage. So for feeling classy, debonair, confident, you know, wanting to make a kind of, you're in one of them moods where you're like, yeah, I look good, I smell good, you know, I'm going to make an impression today, just for me, it doesn't need to be for anyone in particular. Ooh, sugar. hang on, let me get my balance again. There's another Amouage, and that's a Portrayal. And now this one, as we know, is this kind of hark back to the 1920s, 30s, 40s. Huge, big, beautiful jasmine fragrances. Very classy and elegant. It's a very floral one. A little bit of green flecks in there. There's a tuberose giving it that carnal feel. It's just massive. It's kind of sweet, it's smooth, it's elegant, it's classy. And there's a little bit of a cigarette smoke in there. And it's, you know, one of them on a stick. And it's just got that whole kind of feeling in your mind, you know, you're in your tuxedo, your bow tie. She's got one of them little, what are they called? Flasher, fixator. Oh God, this is a swamp that I appear to have walked into. One of them, what are they called? It doesn't matter, you know what I mean. Like a bow around a head with a feather in it. Fascinator. How good. Yeah, that's all completely irrelevant. But it gives that kind of beautiful kind of feeling of being in them times, and everyone's sniffing you because you smell so good. Everyone wants to hang about with you because you're so cool. So that's Portrayal from Amouage. Then we have, you know, what's a nice way of putting this? We don't want to use the H word because that's a bit unnecessary. Frisky. Wanting some loving. Feeling kind of that kind of, you know. And what have I gone for that? Well, again, I've tried to avoid the really obvious fragrances, and we've gone for Sirens and Sailors from Jusbox. Now this one is a kind of, again, a youthful friskiness. Leather, lots of different boozers. Claire Smith calls a naughty party. There may be illicit substances going round. You're young, there's locked bedroom doors, even some open bedroom doors where couples and thruples and multiples are in there having a good time. And it's just, it gives that kind of air of, yeah, I'm a little bit cheeky. I'm up for some fun. I don't know, it sounds really weird and awful saying it at my age. But I suppose we still have needs and do things, don't we? You know, one Sunday every 3 years. So it's that kind of fragrance. It's got that kind of youthful, fun, adventurous kind of excitement and naughtiness, and wanting to, you know, have a bit of a frolic and do what the birds and the bees do in spring. And it, with them beautiful, like I say, dark rose, sweet rose. I think there's whiskey, there's brandy in it. Just it's magical, and a nice touch of musk, and leather always kind of gives you that seductive feeling, doesn't it? So yeah, anyway, waffling. Sirens and Sailors from Jusbox. When you're in a meh mood, you know what I mean? Just, well, I don't care, can't bother today. Wish I was just still in bed. I am completely lost and there's no path, but there is a bridge, so I'm having hope here. Yeah, that just kind of a grey day. Miserable, nondescript, just want to be on your own again. Screw people, don't care. So I'm going to go for a really tedious, boring, meh fragrance. Now the old version of this is not meh. It was very classy and I loved it. But the new formulation, specially designed for meh. And that's Chanel's Allure Homme. It's, you know, it's your Chanel citruses, your Chanel resins. There used to be a little bit of a peachy kiss in it. Not really now. It's kind of meh. Woody, little bit spicy. It's all them things of the fragrances of its time, you know, the 2000s, 2010s and that. It's more interesting than most Chanel's from the male range. And really, you're going to throw it on, you're not going to feel anything, you're not going to care. You're not going to enjoy it. You're probably not even really going to smell it unless you spray about 50 sprays on it. It's just a meh fragrance for a meh day. So that is Chanel's Allure. And then after all these activities, this is not quite the last one by the way, but after all these activities, you're going to feel sleepy and ready for bed, but kind of in that kind of excited sleepiness. It's bedtime. I want to get into my fresh sheets and wrap them around me. I want to feel that kind of soft cotton, like being in the womb. Okay, not quite that extreme, but that soft cotton cocooning you, and you just want a light, easygoing smell to drift off and dream of wonderful places and wonderful things. Nice, calm, easygoing places and things. So what have I gone for sleepy? We have gone for Imperial Tea from Kilian. Now this is back to jasmine. It's a jasmine tea. A perfectly brewed cup of jasmine tea. This is so vivid. It's got the little hint of bitterness that you've slightly overstewed it, which is how I like my jasmine tea. Then you've kind of got the green jasmine flower effect, which is kind of mixing in with that kind of warm vapour, you know, the steam coming off the tea going up, and that is very comforting and very warming and very reassuring. And I think jasmine has this thing, and it also, for me, it's quite meditative. It takes you to a kind of place where you are that vapour. You're going up into the air, just calm, becoming a part of everything. And that is the perfect kind of fragrance we want to go to sleep in, isn't it? So Imperial Tea from Kilian. Next, nearly at the end now, is Adventurous. Not in a kind of kinky ropes and lots of lubrication kind of way, in a kind of literal sense of being adventurous, being a pioneer. You wanted to go out exploring, seeing new places and discovering new cultures and embracing the world like we used to do in the old days. And what I've gone for that is it's an influencer sort of fragrance. It's from our very own Scott the Centurion, and it's his fragrance called Legio X. Now this one starts off with these, to me it takes me to my childhood, but these tomato leaves, which are like a greenhouse, you know, that kind of smell. But don't worry, it doesn't dominate. And then you get this kind of thick, rich, sweet mintiness coming through, and vetiver. And it kind of starts to take you on this green journey. There's a little bit of leather in there. There's a little bit of a floral touch and some musks. And it is just like, we don't quite have the smells here because we don't have things like that growing here. But imagine a warm kind of part of Europe. You know, you're walking through southern France and in Italy, and and Spain, you're getting all these beautiful, like you would get tomatoes just growing in the wild, and all this greenery and herbs and like clean woods, and everything's kind of vivid and warm, and that's what this fragrance is. And it does kind of take you through a journey. It's not just a kind of hook, and it also kind of takes you a little bit to the past with the style of when green fragrances used to be big and interesting and stuff, and it's very much got that feel about it. So that's Legio X from the Centurion fragrances. Finally, after all of this, is what we need to sit and do after we've made a fragrance video or spent hours and hundreds of pounds on fragrances. It's to be reflective, to reflect on our life and the terrible mistakes and ridiculousnesses that we do and stuff. Or even, you know, that things aren't all that bad, they could be worse. You know, it could be a forever Rishi Sunak world or evil Tories, but it's not going to be. There's light at the end of the tunnel. And you're sitting there under the Bodhi tree or here in the mud, watching the pollution go by in the river, and it's Lotus rising from April Aromatics. Now, I've never seen a lotus in the wild, but when you see it, you get all these kind of imagines of a kind of calm stream, and the lotus is bobbing up and down, the reflection of the light, the smell of all the greens and stuff. It's a little bit earthy and muddy because of where it is. You know, you're in ancient China or Thailand, and everything is peaceful and meditative and just beautiful, and that's what Lotus Rising is. It's that flower just bobbing on the surface, coming up from the mud, the sweet floral smells, taking in the calm, peaceful world around it, almost ascending you with the nectar and the kind of smells that come out from it. It's such a beautiful, calm, magical fragrance to me, this one. Not going to waffle on. April Aromatics, Lotus Rising. So yeah, pretty basic and simple. There's 11, 10, 12 maybe emotions and feelings there. Obviously I'm going to tag people. You don't have to do them all. You know, there's some that people might be uncomfortable with doing or just not want to do because they're ridiculous, and that's all cool. But there's not many tags going round. I mean, considering there's not many tags going round, this is an exciting tag, isn't it? Just look at it that way. It might be boring and repetitive, etc. But yeah, who I'm going to tag in this fragrance tag thing is Rose and Jones, Lizzie. If you get time, no pressure. Dr. Claire Smith Perfumes, whatever the channel is, be all flashed up. Again, no pressure. Yulia, I think she still sent siblings on here. I think you'd be great at this. And finally, Chantel. If you get time, we miss your Geordie accent, and you bring a bit of emotion and sunshine to us all with this video. So anyway, whatever. What about yourselves? What would you wear for each of these emotions? Are there major emotions from your everyday life or feelings that were missed out, and how would you send them? Is this the most boring video ever? But thanks folks, bye.